watching the Voice in the Wilderness channel. Today I'm tackling the latest political theater, the so-called national dialogue. But let me call it what it really is. This is another costly presidential scam to disguise the failures of the ANC government. This is an insult, actually, to South Africans who already know what the problems are, who have been marching and petitioning the government, who have been going to social media, to TikTok, to voice and try to petition their country. I'm talking here about very high rate of murder. I'm talking here about very high unemployment. I'm talking about the open borders, limitless supply of illegal immigrants in the country without any control, and with us not knowing who's coming in and who's going out. South Africans already have the solutions. It's just that they don't have the opportunity to implement them because we have elected representatives to represent us and gave them the tools and the levers of power to implement those solutions. We are tired of being gaslit by a failing ANC government that is fast running out of excuses. Let me tell you one thing. The dialogue is a distraction. It would have been funny if it was a joke, but unfortunately it's going to cost you and me money. President Ramaphosa wants us to believe that after 30 years of democracy and ANC rule, South Africa still doesn't know what it wants, what the country wants, or how to fix the problems. Really? Really? Let me refresh the memory of the president. We do know what is wrong and we do know the solutions. One, the State Capture Commission spent just under 2 billion rands to give us a blueprint of what to do. For example, prosecute the corrupt, professionalize the public service, and dismantle, decimate cadre deployment. The Auditor General, year after year, if you have been paying attention, screams about billions lost to looting. Civil society has begged President Ramaphosa and the ANC for a leaner and cheaper and cost-effective cabinet. Let's face it, we have the biggest and most expensive cabinet, but let me assure you, they're most incompetent in the world. Many South Africans have looked at the failures of the ANC, black ANC government. Many black South Africans have looked at the situation and they're starting to doubt themselves. There's no need to doubt yourself. Every sector in South Africa is delivering. Every sector in South Africa is performing. Across the color line, you look at the arts and sports, arts and culture. We are excelling. Our gospel music, amapiano, our sports stars, our athletes. Are you talking about young pupils creating an app by using 700 rands in Limpopo to buy a computer and teach themselves robotics and then create an app that supports learning throughout the education system? South Africans are by far the most talented people. There is one thing that is holding us back: lack of leadership. The political sector is not performing. It is dragging this beautiful country backwards. Let me tell you, if government can work South Africa, you'll see what happens with South Africa. Look at our musicians, for example, the talent that we have in the country. If we had a visionary president, he would build another big industry around music, because when South Africans sing, everyone stands and listen. Yes, the Auditor General has lamented the wasteful and fruitless expenditures and corruption and mismanagement. But what has been the response from the ANC? Silence. Or worse, another talk shop. They keep on recycling the same redundant ministers, incompetent ministers. If the complaints are too loud, they take this minister, corrupt minister, and shift them to the next portfolio. Is this a government that is serious about addressing the needs of South Africans? And they need to know, what this government need to know, what President Ramaphosa needs to know is that mismanagement and corruption and indifference cost lives. Children are being hijacked in South Africa from school. People are being killed around the clock. This murder rate surpasses even of those countries that are at war. Yet you'll never even hear the president call a family meeting to talk about the murder rate, because either he doesn't care or he doesn't want to humiliate himself and to draw attention to the fact that he's presiding over a crumbling country. Let's look at, for example, the ANC's playbook. You know it, I know it. Triple D. Delay, deny, and deflect. This is the ANC's oldest trick. Unfortunately, it would have been a joke. It would have been laughable if it were a joke, but it is not a joke. This is a trick that costs us money, because for every deflection that the ANC comes up with, millions of rands, if not billions, are spent. It's like we complain and then they pretend to be fixing the problem, but they clobber us with a stick. Use our taxpayers' money to pretend to be solving a problem that they do not really want to fix. They will launch a commission here, a dialogue there, a summit here. And before you know it, we forget, because they'll keep on flooding the zone with scandal and wasteful endeavors. Let's look at the Zondo report. It's gathering dust. Do you still remember when Ramaphosa refused to cut ministerial packs but tried to raise VAT on the poor? Let that sink in. Let me repeat it. Do you remember when there was a budget shortfall? They couldn't raise enough revenue to meet the expenditure in the budget. And there were strong suggestions that the president must reduce his cabinet size, just like he promised during his first time. He refused to do that, point blank, flatly denied to reduce the cabinet. Because this ANC government is not even trying to pretend to know what the average citizen is going through. They don't want to compromise anything. They go to international trips, spending millions of rands on accommodation and refreshments. That is what they did. They refused to cut expenditure and opted to raise VAT on a society that is already complaining, battling under the steepest price increases that we're experiencing at the grocery store. Fortunately, the courts rightfully blocked that VAT increase. But the message was clear, make no mistake about it. The ANC protects itself, not the people. Now, with elections looming and the ANC's back against the wall, they are rolling out the same script. Dialogue buys them time. It's a smokescreen to avoid admitting that they failed. Because here is the truth. South Africa doesn't need more talk. We need action on the solutions we already have. No one can tell me that we don't know what needs to be done. What we need is not to drown in more and more talk shops. I mean, politicians drive to townships on roads that have got potholes, and they claim to be going to an imbizo, and they are going past crumbling infrastructure. They are going to an imbizo to hear what the people want. It's a waste of time and money. The answer is simple. Teachers must teach, learners must learn. The president must reduce the size of the cabinet and cut waste throughout the government. The police must investigate without fear or favor. Corrupt and incompetent politicians must be held accountable and fired. The problems and solutions aren't that complicated. Meanwhile, the police are not investigating people who need to be investigated in the case of state capture. Our problems, no one is being held accountable. Our problems aren't that complicated. We are just not having people with the willpower to do what is required. So instead of dealing with the problems, actually the president, Mr. Ramaphosa, knows this. The ANC knows what needs to be done. But they won't do it because it would mean dismantling the very system that keeps them in power. So instead, they'll waste more time, more money, and more of our patience on a dialogue that is nothing but a national insult on the South African citizens. Here is my call to action, fellow South Africans. Wake up. They are betting will fall for the same old trick. Don't. Demand action, not words. Please share this video. Challenge the dialogue charade. And most importantly, remember this insult when you next step into a voting booth. Don't boycott the election, but register your consent. Make sure you register your consent during the election. This is Rendani. I am the voice in the wilderness. Thank you for tuning in. See you during the next episode.